Okay, we got the boot cowl on, and I'll just kind of go over what we did. Like I said before, you're gonna have to use ratchet straps. You can see here, I just put a lot of tape here and I've loosened it up already. I'm finished, but I put it right here in this notch right there. And I'll tell you, sometimes you have to put enough pressure where it'll actually just barely maybe bend this lip just a little bit, but you can just take some pliers and put it back if you have to. But it does take some force. You can see back here, just go back to the gear attached there, and light fix back up. So, you know, what we're trying to do is what we've done here. See, the boot cowl has come right over to the edge. And what I found is the bottom, you can pull the bottom in. As you pull the bottom in, you'll bring it over. You see that mark that I made. So this tape was over on the edge, and I had this line drawn, so I knew when I pulled this boot cowl up down here that I was covering my fabric spacer. Then I came over here and marked a 1/4 of an inch in for my 1/4 of an inch edge spacing. It's important that in the manual, it's not quite right. You need to come 1.8 inches up off the bottom for your first one here. And the reason is there's tubes down here, fuselage tubes, and you'll hit it and you won't be able to go through. So make sure you do this one 1.8 inches up or so. Come up here to this first one and make sure you get it down, you know, far enough to where you're straight. Then I just take this measurement, it's like 24.5 from here to there, and divide it by 9, and you'll see you get it like 2.72, something like that, inches in between them. So that way you just got evenly spaced. You know, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the same on both sides. As you slide the boot cowl on, you'll have your rods sticking out here. And you start to bring it in. We stopped it short, started stuffing in the wires and cables and stuff. And as you keep pushing it in, just keep pulling your wires. You can see here that this has now come through. You can see where I actually had rounded on it. I had friction tape underneath, and I put rounded also, some of that nylon around it. I put that on there too to give it good protection. Going through here, and just keep pulling, you know, like I say, everything, making sure you pull it all the way out. I got my little short wires here out that are going to go to the fuel pressure transducer. So that's there. I even put some hemostats on to make sure they didn't pull back through when I was messing with it. Everything here is pulled through. I've checked all my wires. They're all through, okay? Again, I've got one extra one here in this batch that was going to the carb temperature sensor, which we don't use in the EX3, but if you're building an EX2, it's just the same. It's just that this is one wire that goes down home through the engine to your carb temperature sensor. Prop wires and everything pulled. On this side, what you'll probably have to find you had to do is, I've already put it back on, but if you had, make sure you hadn't used your cotter pin already, but take this up, turn the gasolator to the left and take it off, and it gives you more room to get your ratchet strap in there. As you get down close to the end, be sure and watch your two fuel wires here. Fuel lines. We've got the two here. Let's make sure they're not getting caught up in the fuselage in there somewhere. It's over the side. Just kind of check and push them out this hole. So as you push this down further, you know, it won't get in the way. One of these is going to the quick drain here, and the other one's going to the gasolator right here. Also, another thing to kind of watch is your hole down here. Sometimes as you're pushing the boot cowl on, it can get caught, you know, on one of these cotter pins or something as it goes back. Okay, so everything is good there. As you get it down, you can see this side here, same thing. This top one up here, you can't go real high. This thing turns over to the side, you'll see. So you'll hit nothing if you go up here. So you really got to bring it down, you know, to where you're sure you're getting that first fabric spacer. Same thing down there, 1.8 inches off, and then divide the rest up, which is at 2.72. You know, drill a hole with a 3/32, and then put a Cleco in it. I just start at the bottom and make sure I've got it nice and flat, put the next one in. So this is a 3/32 hole through here right now. Next, I'll take these out, and then I use a metal ruler, just something in between there. I think it's a number 34 drill. We're going to drill only the outside of the boot cowl. You know, we're leaving the small side back there because of the screws, those little .25 TA screws, or sheet metal screws, and they'll go right into that 3/32 hole that it's screwing into. As you pull when you got the boot cowl close, you kept it back far enough here, you know, so far, maybe this far off of it, then that's when I actually got up underneath the cockpit here and went up there and got those 3 little wires that were going to the fuel solenoid. So I got up underneath the dash and fed them through. It's easy enough to get them started so that they went through those 3 little wires over here, okay? Also, when you get up to that far, you'll need to connect the manifold pressure line. And I think that worked out pretty easy, actually. So you can see it's about this far up and over. You'll see it on the inside with the nipples on the inside. So bring it up enough, go up underneath where you can get around to it. If you need to cut your hose off a little more to trim it, but make sure first you see it so that it's in a root that it's not gonna kink. And then I just sprayed a little Armor All inside the hose, shook it out good just so it was barely coated, slid one of the clamps, little green squeeze clamps over it, slid up out of the way, then I just reached up with my hand and it just pushed on nice, and then I pushed the clamp down to the end of the nipple. I was able to grab it with a pair of pliers and then push it on up and clamp it on. So I think that is the easiest way to do it after all. Okay, just to bring it right up to it, just a couple inches off, just enough room to get your hands up in there and get that done. As you're going along, as you come up, you're gonna wanna watch a couple of places as you're bringing the boot cowl up. You know, the boot cowl will want to get on the back side of the fabric spacer too, so just make sure just to move it a little bit, ratchet it just a very small amount, I push and I pull right here with my hand, get a rag so you don't let it, and I just pull hard to get it up here. And make sure that it didn't get caught here, so you're trying to push or pull or ratchet with this thing behind the fabric spacer. Another thing it'll do, the edges of the instrument panel, it'll go up underneath the instrument panel too. So as you're coming, you'll have to come over. I actually took a big flat, you know, dull screwdriver at times and had to get it up underneath here and pick this lip up. Probably what you have to do is push the instrument panel back. You see it's still not touching the tube, but you'll just basically, so you can watch this, you can push it back in. See there, where it's nice and flat. So the panel will go back and meet flush with this. And when next we have to install the vinyl piece across here, which is this piece here. So you have to get it started up underneath here. It's kind of fun. It just takes you have to take a screwdriver and just kind of keep working it all the way around. But anyway, just watch as you're bringing it up, and none of these little pieces here get caught underneath the instrument panel as you're pulling it up, because you'll have to take the boot cowl back and put it back under and push it back up, you know, in there. So just watch those places, bring it on back up. And then once we got these in here, we're good to go. Now I'll loosen them up enough to remove the tape, drill my bigger hole, and start putting screws in here. You see that I took the engine mount was ready to go, and put the bolts, you know, through. You can actually bend and not bend, but you can just, yeah, it's kind of bending. You can this will move around. It's not lined up. Just kind of give a little force to the mount to where it lines up and just push it right on through. No problems. And again, I have to go look again. I think it was 520 pounds of torque that we're going to put on these, and you can't really get a ratchet wrench, torque wrench inside there. Mitch told me just get it close out, so I need to go calculate it out. But if you put it on the outside, if you're torquing from the bolt side versus the turning side, it's a higher amount. But you just want to bring that up nice and tight. Make sure you got your 1 to 3 threads exposed in there. Again, remembering that these bottom ones, if you've got after July of 2018 fuselage, you need to get the different bolt. It's the 632A bolt. It's just a little bit longer. I guess they must have made something, either the mount bigger, or I guess it was a fuselage, because that was the determining factor on whether you needed to use it or not, the longer bolts. So I guess after July, they must have made the attach point in there on the fuselage just a little bit longer, so they went to the next size bolt, I suppose. And I guess that's about it. Now we'll just get started with the other stuff. I'll go ahead and solder this to those wires, and then I'll go ahead and lay out I'm gonna go ahead and connect all my cables to my boxes and get those all trimmed and attached and everything, as much done as I can, before I hang the engine. The engine is here, and completely ready to go onto it. I'm considering whether for the first time I actually putting the baffles and stuff on it here, so I'm gonna take a look at that. It'd be a little bit easier to do it on here, and if I don't see a reason why I can't do it here and then mount it, that's what I may do this time and give it a shot. Just doesn't make much difference, but it might be just a tad easier. So I can't think of anything else. If you got any questions, just let me know.